Ladies and gentlemen, share the segment prior to this one. You might like it, you might not like it, but it's a very important segment. And I want to just read you perhaps a rebuttal to what I reported on in the segment prior from Kevin R. Brock, former assistant director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the Hill. Unsealed Mar-a-Lago search warrant affidavits revealed the government has no case against Trump. I agree 100% with Mr. Brock. I think he's brilliant. I also agree that the government could indict Trump knowing they would lose a case. So prosecuting or indicting him and convicting him are two different stories, two different ball games. It's an important, and it will only boost Trump's popularity if he's indicted. You have to stop thinking that it would be the end of the world, or it would be an affront or an insult or yet another example that democracy, they talk about democracy is crumbling before our very eyes, with the U.S. government siding with the Democratic Party, siding alongside the Democratic Party to rip up the rule of law and go after one person they don't like, which is exactly what's happening. It's been happening since 2016, 2015. They purchased a dossier against Trump. They purchased a dossier against Trump. Clinton actually paid FEC violations, fines for using campaign money given to Bernard Sanders to buy a dossier, filter it through the U.S. government, go after Trump for things he didn't do. That's why he hasn't been indicted yet. They can't find anything that he did wrong. They could nitpick and say, he removed a classified document that he didn't declassify. It's in Mar-a-Lago. That alone is enough to indict. They could possibly do that, ladies and gentlemen, but he's a former president, so they couldn't convict him. Because at the end of the day, he has the authority to possess. He had the authority to possess it. He had the authority to transfer it for a library if it was declassified. They could possibly state, there's a legal statute that says you can't own it even if you're a president. But here, this is Kevin R. Brock in the Hill. But that's not all that's needed in this case in particular. A criminal violation of those statutes only exists if it can be established that the person being investigated was not authorized to possess, store, transfer, or copy those documents. This is an easy element to establish against anyone in America, including Clinton, obviously, except one person. The unredacted parts of the affidavit make no attempt to articulate cause that Trump was not authorized to have those documents in his home. The reason is that as president, he had broad, legally intimidating authority established by law and court determinations to declassify any and all documents and to determine what is and what is not presidential record. That is huge. Trump and his legal team have asserted that this authority was exercised while he was still president. Again, it would be so murky and ambiguous and difficult to prove in a court of law, especially when you have other presidents that have made the precedent that have contributed to a precedent where classified data is really not the issue if you're a president or former president, because you could declassify at will, and other reasons. But hit subscribe to this channel right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to zoom past 200,000 subs. It's because of you. I will have a live stream tomorrow evening on this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Be here tomorrow evening, September 1st, Thursday, September 1st. I'll have a live stream at around 9 p.m. or so. We always have amazing live streams, so be here. This is what I want people to understand. Watch the segment prior to this one. Definitely share this segment, but understand a couple of things. Is there a double standard? Of course there is. Are they going after somebody they dislike? It's just like a dysfunctional middle school or high school class. They despise him, and they are going to try every way to knock him out of 24. He is up over mashed potato brains Joe by 2.2 points, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? He is up by 2.2 points in Real Clear Politics. Go to Real Clear Politics right now. He's up by 2.2 points in a matchup. Okay. They don't have anything they can actually convict him on. He didn't try to commit a crime. They had Clinton siphoning, and I want a Hillary Trump 2024 for a number of reasons, as you know. But they had Clinton siphoning top secret and special access program intelligence data. outside of the United States government for 4 years. Okay? They couldn't find intent inherent to owning servers outside of the U.S. government is the intent to hide. This is obvious. This is obvious. Okay? The problem, ladies and gentlemen, is there's this notion that, well, there has to be some fair play. There has to be some... almost everyone in media, almost every journalist, almost every cable station has utter contempt and disdain for Trump. They're going to spin everything into, well, there's nothing we could have done. Well, this is the rule of law, as they actively suppress and silence and cover up real crimes, egregious crimes, graft, bribery, my God, just going ahead and funneling classified data outside the U.S. government. Okay? So you have a huge double standard here that everybody can see. They don't care about that. That's what I'm going to try to tell my viewers. I don't know if it's popular or unpopular. You have to get it in your mind and in your body and your soul or psyche or spirit that it's okay if Trump gets indicted because it'll only make him more popular. He is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of American politics. He's the Obi-Wan Kenobi of American politics because you have the Empire striking back at him every single day. These people you could look at Washington Post, the wonderful, highly educated people at the Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, The Atlantic, New Yorker, New York Magazine, Rolling Stone, Vanity Fair, Esquire, BuzzFeed, Vice, Time Magazine, Los Angeles Times. They're all wonderful people. Atlanta Journal-Constitution. They're all wonderful, beautiful, amazing human beings. They despise Trump, and they will treat him in a manner they would never allow a Democrat to be treated. And they will justify, just like the wonderful, highly educated, morally superior atheist who stated, oh, kickbacks, no problem, Trump University worse. Okay? This is the mentality. You have to understand, inflation, which is what we have now, and kickbacks, or graft and bribery, will topple any government. You cannot have a functioning democracy or even society. Forget democracy. You can't have an actual functioning government if your government is engaged in kickbacks and bribes and graft like Tammany Hall, and also inflation is causing the economy to tumble. You will not have a government that survives with inflation and the economy we have now. And Hunter just selling access to the U.S. government through Joe. You can't have that. And you have the emails from the New York Post, and they were suppressed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, sending letters, and Democratic senators sending letters, and then they talk about democracy. Then they say our core values entail discourse, debate, discussion, dialogue, a free flow and sharing of ideas, not the suppression and censorship of a story detrimental to Democrats, which happens all the time now. You can't even express a viewpoint they find detrimental. Okay? And so they're the ones tarnishing and ripping up the rule of law and hurting democracy. Okay? Democracy entails free speech. They view speech as a huge problem because there's no rebuttal to Trump with record highs in household median income and record lows in poverty in 2019. There's no rebuttal to that. What are you going to say? He's mean? He's bad? He's a horrible person? So what? We had an amazing economy in 2019 before Democrats, media, bureaucrats, experts said we had to tank the entire United States economy. And Europe is feeling the repercussions of their economies tanking also. That was the greatest economic sin in modern history. And you did infinitely more worse for people. But again, it was the most apoplectic and hysterical response. And what I'm trying to say is they could indict him, lose the court case, and barely defeat Trump, or even lose to him as an indicted candidate. He could be indicted and still win debates in the minds of half the electorate because everyone knows they're going after him in the most malicious and petulant manner. Okay? The precedent was set not only by presidents, but also by Clinton circumventing Espionage Act indictments. So good luck trying to indict Trump, which I think is quite possible, and then convicting him, which I think is virtually impossible, in a court of law. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Thank you so much.